What's up, everyone? I'm Matt with Ozark Overland Adventures, and I am crazy excited to finally be testing the new Jackery Explorer 1500. This actually came out, I think, back in the spring, and they sold out super fast. And reached out to my contacts at Jackery. They just didn't have them in stock to let people like me review them anymore. But I'm happy to say now I finally got one, and it's just in time for Jackery's big promotion. If you're watching this at launch, from now until October 20th, 2021, Jackery's having a 15% off sale, so you can get some really killer deals on Jackery products, not just the 1500. But I've been wanting to review this one ever since it launched. It is, I think, that sweet spot size for really serious overlanding, car camping, long distances, needing to power serious things, like maybe plugging in if you travel with a small teardrop camper or small type of RV, or a small travel trailer type of thing, and don't want to run a generator. This is a great solution. It's also fantastic for things like disaster preparedness for your home in case of hurricane, tornadoes, thunderstorms, whatever that might knock out the power, because this thing packs 1,534 watts, 1,800 watt inverter with a peak of 3,600 watts. So this thing has some power, and it can run some stuff for quite a while. Ozark Overland Adventures is proudly supported by the More Expo, the Midwest's only indoor event for adventure travel enthusiasts. Artemis Overland Hardware. They have the passion and knowledge to ensure that your next outdoor experience is more than a camping trip, it's an adventure. And Long Creek Overland, your source for Ozark Overland Adventures merchandise and more. Full disclosure, Jackery did send this to me for the purpose of making this review. This is a sponsored video by Jackery, but I am under no obligation to sing its praise and only tell you how awesome this thing is, because it's not perfect. So let me real quickly run through the specs. Like I said, 1,534 watt hours of battery capacity in here, 1,800 watt inverter that is a pure sine inverter with a peak of 3,600 watts. So as things power up, hit that ramp, and then settle back down, it's got you covered. It has one regulated 12 volt DC output with a nice little dust cover on it, 3 AC outputs, 3 USB, 1 USB-A quick charge, 1 standard USB-A, and then a USB-C PD 60 watt power delivery port there. And then it's got 2 8mm inputs, and each one of these inputs has its own separate MPPT controller that can accept up to 300 watts each. I have never tested another power station that has separate MPPT controllers for 2 separate inputs, and I gotta tell you, it makes a huge difference. Form factor, as you can tell, it is exactly like every other Jackery, so yay for them for being consistent in their designs. But I mean, if you've seen the 500, the 1000, this is just a slightly bigger version of that. It does weigh 35.2 pounds, so it's a hefty one, but it is manageable, and it is definitely portable. I have reviewed other ones that exceeded 60 pounds, and those behemoths, you're not gonna take those on an overlanding trip. As with all Jackery products, it has this sturdy handle that is, it's controversial. Some people love it because it does make it easier to carry. Some people hate it because you don't have a flat surface to stack things on top of it. But that's Jackery's design, and it is what it is. Turning around, you've got the obligatory little flashlight there that, it works if you need to light something up. I wouldn't carry this around camp or anything, but if you need to, light up the area where this is sitting on, you can. Nothing fancy around back. Fan outlets on both sides. Nice big rubber feet on the bottom. I do like that keeps it from sliding around. In the box, you get the Jackery 1500, and you get this very, very nice case for all of the things in it. you get the owner's manual, which is really nice. I mean, they really put some effort into this owner's manual. It's definitely the best owner's manual I've ever seen on a power station. And you get some cool stickers, which, I mean, they're actually pretty cool. If you like the stickers, you get the power brick, which is a 300-watt power supply, all in one there. It's actually not too big for what it is. I've seen 200-watt bricks bigger than that one. You get a 12-volt DC cord for your vehicle, and then you get 2 of these solar adapters. And what these allow you to do is plug 4 solar panels into this. You get 2 into this one that plug into one, 2 into this one that plug into the other, so that you can really put some solar power into this thing to charge it on the go. My only gripe with the solar is that Jackery uses, I mean, the 8mm inputs. There's no MC4 adapters, which is pretty standard on other power stations and a lot of solar panels. I mean, 8mm is too, but the MC4 connectors, I think, are give you the most flexibility. Jackery uses this, and really it's just to keep things as simple as possible. You pair this up with Jackery solar panels, they plug into this plugs into this, and it just keeps things really simple. So if you're new to this power station solar generator thing, Jackery keeps it super easy for you. You don't have to worry about other connections and figuring those out, that sort of thing. So, I mean, it definitely has its pros that Jackery does this, but I like the MC4 connectors, but I understand. I mean, they keep it super simple. Inside the package where all the magic happens, Jackery does include all the protections that you would need, such as over and under voltage, over current for solar panels, overcharging, heat protection, and all that sort of stuff. So you're not going to accidentally fry this thing and make it a nice 35.2 pound brick. One thing I do love about Jackery products is the controls on the front are just super simple. You don't have to turn it on and off. You turn it on and off by turning on one of the inputs, and it's just a simple button. There's a nice bright green light there that tells you that it's on. There's the AC, there's the DC. When you've got something plugged into it, there are icons down here on the display to tell you which one is using power, which I think is great. And I think this is one of the best displays I have ever seen on a power station. I'm not a fan of Jackery's other displays on their 300, 500, and 1,000 watts. They're just monochromatic. They don't have a lot of info, but this one actually is fantastic quality. It tells you the percentage of battery left. It's got the little circle around it that actually moves when it's charging, so you can tell. It's got input wattage, output wattage. It's got icons down across the bottom that tells you what's drawing power, how power is coming into it. It knows if a solar panel's plugged in versus the car charger versus the AC adapter. It knows, and it has all those icons on the bottom. And really, it's a fantastic display. It's easy to see in the sunlight. I have nothing bad to say about this display. I think it's fantastic. Considering this was released in 2021, I am disappointed that the battery chemistry in this is lithium-ion batteries, which means this has a life cycle of 500 cycles, fully discharged, fully recharged, 500 times before this drops to 80% capacity. A lot of the newer power stations are using lithium iron phosphate, which gives you above 2,000 cycles. So I wish Jackery had moved to that newer technology with this. It's just a better battery chemistry. They are a little bit heavier, which is why some of those other power stations weigh a lot more than this. So maybe that's why, to keep this a little more portable. But I mean, even 500 cycles, this is going to last you for years. I mean, if you think about, if you go out camping every weekend during the year, that's 52 times 500 cycles. I mean, you got potentially 10 plus years out of this with that type of activity. And let's be honest, most of us don't get to go out camping overnight every single weekend of the year. So 500 isn't the best in the industry by far, but I mean, it's going to last you a really long time. So let's talk about what all this thing can power, because with 1,534 watt hours and an 1,800 watt inverter, you got a lot of options, especially when you're thinking around the house and if power's out. Will this run an air fryer? $1,100 watts? Not a problem. Will this run your microwave? $1,527 watts, 1,530 watts. Yep. You know, if it will run an air fryer and a microwave, it can power your home fridge, it can power a deep freeze. Now, how long it's going to keep it running is going to depend on the power consumption of those devices. But I mean, you could easily run a home fridge overnight on this, and maybe more, depending on the fridge you have, in a type of emergency disaster recovery type of thing, and then throw the solar panels out the next day, top this back off. I mean, it's a realistic scenario there. Now, for our purposes, we are an overlanding, camping, off-roading channel, so that's how we use it. And in our use case, the number one thing that we power off of this is our fridges, our 12-volt fridges that we keep in the back of our rigs to keep all of our food nice and cold without dealing with ice. And as with every other power station test that I do, I plug the Jackery 1500 into our Dometic CFX3 55IM refrigerator. We do that test inside the house. The house stays at about 74 degrees. I put two 2-liter water bottles in there. It is pre-chilled to 34 degrees, and the water just helps regulate the temperature in there. And of all the power stations that I have done that fridge test with, the Jackery wins and blows the competition away. And on that fridge test, the Jackery ran it for 128 hours and 4 minutes. So almost 5.5 days. That is unreal. I mean, that is some serious overlanding, camping. This thing's going to take care of you out off the grid, running your fridge, keeping your food cold. It's just fantastic. The closest one that I had to it is another 1,500 watt power station that I reviewed a few months ago. That one came in at just over 106 hours. So this one has a full extra day over that one. So this one is by far the winner for our fridge test. All right, what about running a small teardrop camper like we have? And just to show you that the camper is plugged into the Jackery, I'm not trying to sneak something by you. So with just the camper plugged into the Jackery, the inverter is charging the main battery on the camper. All the outlets in here work, the AC and heater will work, and it's pulling 56 watts, which would last me at the current state of 74%, about 16 hours, according to the display. So if I needed to charge the house battery overnight, if I was at camp, that sort of thing, this could definitely get it done without having to run a noisy generator, which would be fantastic at camp, and it would save you from pissing a whole lot of people off if you're at a established campground, state park, that sort of thing. But let's test this running the heater and the fan in here. Let's first turn on the fan. Turn the fan to low, and it's pulling 140 watts to run the fan on low, which, if it's kind of warmish, running the fan overnight, you can do it to get you to the cooler hours. Yeah, that'll work. Turn the fan on high, and it spiked to 230, but settles in at about 190 watts. So yeah, I mean, that works. Let's try the heater. All right, I've got the heater on, and as you can see, it has gone up to 1530 is about where it is. At the current state of charge, I could run that for about a half an hour. But, you know, in a situation where it's cold, you at least want to warm the camper up before you get in there to go to sleep. This can do it for you. Now, it's not going to run the heater all night, but heating with electricity is very inefficient. So I wouldn't expect it to, but it could at least warm it before you get in there to go to sleep. So not bad at all. So very impressed with this, and think this is a great solution for, you know, small teardrops, small RVs, that sort of thing, to keep the lights on, power the fridge in there if you've got a slightly bigger one, that sort of thing, without having to run a noisy generator. Now when it comes to solar charging, this setup is actually pretty awesome. I've got 4 Jackery Solar Saga 100 panels. These are brand new. I just took these out of this is the latest version of these panels. They've gone through a couple different versions. This is the latest one. And I have found them to be quite efficient. And they work very well. They fold up nice and small. But I've only got the front 2 panels plugged in here, and I'm getting 187 watts out of these 2 panels, which is pretty fantastic. I did see it spike up to 191. That's the most I've ever seen between 200 watt panels. Usually there's an efficiency loss there, but these are fantastic, 187 watts. And at the current state, I'm at 72% here on the 1500, and in 3 hours I could have this thing fully charged. And in a normal use case, you know, you're not going to be draining this to 0 overnight. You're going to have your fridge plugged into it. Just so you know, I actually have been using this, just got back from rendezvous in the Ozarks, and every night I would plug my fridge into this after 3 nights of running my very large 75-liter dual zone fridge off of this. But I'm at 72%, and so just in 3 hours I can have this fully recharged and ready to go. But let's see what happens if I plug in the second set of panels. Wow, now we're up to 376 watts of input, which is fantastic. So now, in just about an hour and a half, I can have this fully recharged from now, what, 73%, and it would be awesome. Now, each of these inputs will accept up to 300 watts. I wish I had Jackery's new 200 watt panels, because it'd be interesting to see if I put a 200 and a 100 and paired them in, how much more that would go. That would be fantastic, but I don't. I just have the 100 watt panels here. But with these 2 inputs, you can actually mix and match how you're charging them. So let's unplug this front one here, and let's take our power supply that can run at 300 watts and see what we get. And now, with this combination of 2 solar panels and the power brick, we're inputting 450 watts. That's pretty awesome. Now, what type of scenario are you going to have both solar and power available to you? I don't know, if you're staying at a designated campground, maybe like a KOA or something like that, you would have the option to do both. You can actually, if you know, like for home use, you need to charge this super fast, you can actually get 2 power bricks and charge this at 600 watts. If you needed to. The second power brick is of course sold separately, but it's an option. And so there's a lot of flexibility in how you can charge this thing, and I think that is really fantastic. Okay, let's see what this thing will do with the car charger. Say you've been, you know, on a trip, been powering your fridge, recharging your batteries overnight, that sort of thing, and you're on the move and want to get this thing topped back off. Let's see what this will do with the car charger. I mean, 100 watts plugged into your cigarette lighter, that's not bad at all. That's the best I've seen from a 12-volt outlet like that. But if I'm going to be honest with you, that's not how I'm going to charge this, because my Gladiator has a 400-watt inverter with an outlet right here behind the center console, and so I'm going to use the power brick. Let's unplug that and plug this in with it in the back seat while I'm on the go. And now off that inverter, I'm at 260 watts. So I can charge this from 74% in just under 2 hours. But since I have dual inputs, I can actually double that and charge from both power sources. And right now I'm getting 359 watts of input from the 12-volt and the AC, and I can recharge this in just over an hour. That is fantastic, and that is probably exactly how I would recharge this thing, depending on the trip and stuff. And just imagine if I had like 200 watts of solar on the roof that I could plug into this. I could recharge this in no time on the move. That's just awesome. My number one gripe, and really my only major gripe about this, is that it only has 3 USB ports. 2 USB-A's, one's a quick charge, and then 1 USB-C. This is 2021. Most of the things that I'm going to be charging off of this are USB. My lights, to recharge them. My batteries, drone, camera, GoPros, all that, my iPad, my phone, my watch, all of it's USB. Why? Why is there only 3 USB ports on this thing? That's I don't get it. And I mean, the USB-C being a 60-watt PD port, I mean, yay, but 100-watt is very common these days. And so if you're like me and you're toting around a 16-inch MacBook Pro to offload video files and photos and that sort of stuff, I mean, a USB-C will get me by, but a USB-C 100-watt would be fantastic. Jackery, if you're watching this and listening, any other power station company that may be watching this, 3 AC ports, I mean, that's good. That's enough. But good grief, give me 6 USB ports. Give me 10 USB ports. Make half of them USB-C. Make half of them USB-A. And I will be ecstatic that I don't have to, charge something, wait till it's charged, unplug it, charge something else in, that sort of thing. Now, there are solutions for that. I actually carry around one of these little dongles for my MacBook Pro. It's so I can, because the MacBook Pro only has a few USB-C ports, it's so I can gain access to other USB ports. So I can actually take this, plug this into the USB-C port, and now I've got still my 1 USB-C, but I've picked up 2 extra USB-A ports, which, I mean, I can live with that. I'll probably use it that way. They make other dongles that have additional USB-C, that sort of things. This is just the one I have. So something like this can expand your power. But gosh, come on, just load these things up with USB ports. I mean, make these vertical, just put them all right here. You can make your logo a little smaller, it's okay. Or just stack the 6 USB ports right here would be fantastic. Make these go that way. Or keep it that way. I don't care. Or USB, USB, USB. Fill in the space with USB ports. Okay, end rant. So let's talk about the price of the Jackery Explorer 1500, because it definitely is not on the budget side of power stations. Jackery is one of the more premium brands, and I mean, you definitely get more for your money here. But regular price for this is $15.99, which puts it just over that $1 per watt hour mark, which is what I think is kind of the sweet spot. You can definitely find some for less. But at the time of this recording, until October 20th, 2021, Jackery's having their big 15% off sale, which means you can get this for $1,359. That's a heck of a deal. And one thing that I will brag on Jackery for is just overall quality. The build quality is fantastic. The layout is fantastic. The simplicity of the buttons is fantastic. No one else gives you this quality of a bag to store all of your stuff. And even on the inside here, I mean, every single one of these cords has these really nice cord wranglers, Velcro. Every single one of these, from the power cord, the brick, the 12 volt, even the little solar adapters have this. I mean, the quality that they put into this is top notch. And you know, I mean, are there better bang for the bucks? Yeah. Do the bang for the bucks have this quality? No. I mean, they don't. They just don't. So, really love the quality, and I think, you know, I think the price is worth it. Let me talk about the solar panels real quick, because that's where, you know, having these things paired up with a solar panel really shines. This is their Solar Saga 100 panel. It also is very well made. The material on the outside is very good. It's a very simple 2-panel magnetic design, so really fast to set up. Velcro tabs on the back here for your feet. Pocket here. Actually does gain you an extra USB port here. On the little controller, you have a USB-C and a USB-A. So if you are charging this with solar, you can plug things into this as well. So, I mean, that gains you a little bit of extra ports there. Nice long cable. It honestly could be longer, especially when you're pairing this up with the adapter with more panels. The cords could be a little bit longer. It does reach, but I would love the ability to maybe keep this at my camp, you know, under shade, and run 15 feet of cord out to where the sun is and do it that way. But I mean, that'd be a whole lot of cord. So there is enough. You're not lacking in cord, but it would be really nice if there was more. Up here does have all the specs on it, tells you what it can charge and for how long. But they're very, very nice solar panels. They are on the higher end side of solar panels as far as price goes, but I haven't tested another solar panel that matches the efficiency of these. They're just fantastic. And like I said, I wish I could test the Solar Saga 200s, but they're out of stock right now. So very impressed with their solar panels. They are nice. They're not very heavy. They're nice and light, super thin. So you know, even if you've got 4 like I do, stacking up, that doesn't take up a whole room with how thin these are. So I'm very happy with solar panels. Well, I think that about covers it. I'm very happy with the Jackery 1500. This is going to be my go-to power station for a while. I've got a bunch of trips coming up, exploring the Ouachita National Forest. There'll be a lot of overnighters. This thing is going to be my go-to for a while, and I'm going to really put this to the test. So I am very, very pleased with this. Overall, I think it's a great size. It runs things very well. It's very high quality. Yeah. So if you've got any questions or comments, be sure and leave them below. There is a link to this down below. If you would use that, that would be great. It is an affiliate link. If you would like the video, subscribe to the channel, check out all that awesome content we've got. Check out longcreekoverland.com for all of our Ozark Overland Adventures merchandise. We've got quite a few new designs in the store there. So go check those out. Appreciate the love with the merchandise. And if you appreciate the review videos, all the inspirational trip videos, the how-tos on things like the Gladiator, my wife's Grand Cherokee, and other just general overlanding content, check out our Patreon and consider supporting us in a very tangible way. We really appreciate those people, and that's how we share some special content, share all of our GPS data, our routes, and our campsites and stuff that we find on our trips. We share all that with our Patreon supporters. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.